Have you ever wondered why those who are called to a higher purpose often walk the path of financial struggle? Why do the chosen ones, those with deep faith, a heart for service and a divine calling, find themselves wrestling with lack while others seem to prosper effortlessly? Is it a punishment, or is there a greater purpose behind this unseen force at work? History tells us that the most enlightened souls, prophets, sages, and visionaries, were not defined by wealth, but by their faith, endurance, and wisdom. Jesus, Buddha, and countless mystics walked in abundance of spirit, not material riches. They understood a truth that many overlook. Financial hardship is not always a curse. It is often a refinement, a sacred preparation for something greater. What if your struggle is not meant to break you, but to awaken you? What if, in this season of lack, you are being called to see beyond material wealth and into a higher provision? Today we will unravel the deeper meaning behind financial struggles among the chosen ones, revealing the hidden lessons and divine design behind this journey. By the end, you may see your struggles in an entirely new light. The world has long measured success by material wealth. It is written into the fabric of society that prosperity is a sign of favor and struggle a sign of misfortune. But what if that perspective is incomplete? What if, in the grand design of the divine, financial struggle is not a punishment, but a sacred instrument used to refine and elevate the soul? From the ancient scriptures to the teachings of mystics and enlightened masters, we see a pattern emerge. Those chosen for great spiritual assignments are often led through seasons of lack, not as a sign of neglect, but as a way of tempering their spirit. It is the furnace in which the gold of their faith is purified, where dependence on worldly security is stripped away so that something infinitely more valuable can take its place. Trust in divine provision. Think of the Israelites as they wandered in the wilderness. They had been freed from physical bondage, yet their hearts still clung to Egypt's comforts. They longed for the certainty of a stable life, even if it meant returning to servitude. But God had other plans. He did not lead them directly to abundance. Instead, He sustained them through divine provision, offering manna from heaven rather than the wealth of a conquered land. Why? Because He was teaching them a lesson that transcends material riches. True sustenance does not come from the hands of men, but from the breath of the divine. When Jesus walked the earth, He had no place to rest His head. He did not come as a king draped in jewels and fine robes, but as a humble servant. He performed miracles, yet He did not accumulate wealth. He was showing us something radical, that the kingdom of God is not measured in coins, but in faith. And faith is often tested in times of lack. Financial struggle is an initiation. It is a sacred calling to detach from the illusion of security that money provides. It is in these moments of lack that you are given the opportunity to witness the hand of God moving in your life, sustaining you in ways that go beyond logical understanding. Have you ever had a moment where you were on the edge, with no clear path forward, yet somehow something came through? A door opened where there was none? That is the very essence of divine provision. It is unpredictable, unexplainable, yet unmistakably real. There is a concept in quantum physics known as the observer effect, where the act of observing something changes its outcome. Some spiritual thinkers suggest that faith operates in a similar way. When you shift your focus from fear of lack to trust in divine provision, the very fabric of your reality begins to change. What if financial struggle is a test not of suffering, but of perception? A way to refine your ability to see abundance where others see emptiness. Many who have walked the path of faith have found themselves brought to the edge, where all external supports were stripped away. It is in these moments that the heart is tested. Will you surrender to fear, or will you lean into faith? The chosen ones are not meant to rely on material wealth as their foundation. Their purpose is greater, and so they are called into a deeper level of trust. Just as a warrior is trained in battle, those chosen for divine assignments are trained in lack, so that they may wield abundance with wisdom and purpose when the time comes. It is easy to have faith when the bank account is full. It is effortless to trust when opportunities flow freely. But can you maintain your faith in the absence of material security? Can you believe in abundance when all signs point to scarcity? That is where true spiritual mastery begins. That is where the chosen are forged. The financial struggles of the chosen ones are not random occurrences. They are sacred lessons in disguise. The world will tell you that wealth equals success, but the divine measures by a different scale. Spiritual elevation often requires a period of detachment from material excess so that the soul may learn what it truly means to be sustained. When you release the need for financial certainty, you step into a realm where miracles unfold, where provision appears not through the labor of your hands alone, but through the unseen orchestration of a higher power. So the next time you find yourself questioning why your path has been marked by struggle, ask yourself, what if this is not a detour, but the exact road you were meant to walk? What if through this season of lack, you are being prepared for something far greater than mere financial gain? The chosen ones are not called to an ordinary life. They are called to something extraordinary, and extraordinary journeys often begin in the wilderness. The presence of financial struggle in your life may not be a sign of failure, but rather a test of your heart, your integrity, and your spiritual maturity. Money in its essence is neither good nor evil. It is simply a tool, a form of energy that amplifies the character of those who wield it. The question then is not whether wealth itself is harmful, but whether your heart is prepared to handle it with wisdom, humility, and divine purpose. Think of a young child given access to great riches without the maturity to manage it. The wealth, instead of blessing, would become a curse, an overwhelming force leading to impulsive decisions, waste, and possibly even destruction. The same principle applies to spiritual maturity. Before God entrusts you with abundance, He ensures that your heart is tested, your motives purified, and your character refined. Consider the prodigal son from Luke 15:11-32. He was given his inheritance prematurely, before he had developed the wisdom to steward it properly. The result? He squandered it in reckless living, eventually finding himself in utter ruin, longing for the life he had once taken for granted. It was only through hardship, through suffering, that he came to understand the value of what he had lost. His journey was one of refinement, of transformation, a lesson in what happens when wealth is given before the heart is ready to bear its weight. Financial struggles serve as a similar refining process for the chosen ones. They strip away illusions, exposing the true foundation of faith. If your security is built solely on material wealth, what happens when it is taken away? Does your trust in God waver? Do you fall into despair? Or do you stand firm, knowing that your provision comes not from the physical, but from the divine? This is why many chosen ones endure seasons of lack before entering seasons of abundance. It is not to break them, but to build them. To teach reliance not on money, but on God. True wealth is not found in the numbers of a bank account, but in the depth of one's faith, the resilience of the spirit, and the purity of one's intentions. Throughout history, we see this lesson repeated. King Solomon, known as one of the wealthiest and wisest rulers, first sought wisdom above all else. When given the choice by God to ask for anything, he did not ask for gold, power, or long life. He asked for wisdom. Because of this, God blessed him with everything else. This reveals a spiritual law. Wisdom precedes wealth, and those who seek wisdom first will find that abundance follows naturally, rather than being the primary pursuit. Now, let's shift our perspective to modern times. Studies in psychology show that sudden financial windfalls, such as lottery winnings, often lead to disaster for those who receive them unprepared. Many lottery winners end up in deeper financial trouble than before, losing everything within a few years. Why? Because they never developed the mindset, discipline, and character to handle abundance. This mirrors the biblical principle that those who are faithful with little will be entrusted with much. Financial responsibility is a spiritual discipline, and seasons of struggle teach us the discipline of stewardship. Think of it this way: if you are faithful in the way you manage small blessings, tithing, giving, saving, and living in alignment with divine wisdom, God sees that you are ready for more. But if you misuse what little you have, how can you expect to be entrusted with greater wealth? Luke 16:10 reminds us, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. This is where the test of the heart comes into play. Financial struggle reveals what truly lies within, whether we are led by greed, entitlement, or resentment, or whether we cultivate gratitude, discipline, and trust in divine timing. Some of you may be asking, why am I struggling financially while others who seem less spiritually devoted thrive? The answer is simple: their journey is different. Some accumulate wealth without spiritual refinement, but that wealth often comes at a cost. Misalignment with their divine purpose, moral compromise, or a deep emptiness that money cannot fill. The chosen ones, however, are being prepared for something greater. Their wealth, when it comes, is meant to serve a higher calling. So, if you find yourself in financial struggle today, do not despair. See it as a season of preparation. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How is my heart being refined? Remember that your provision is coming, but in God's perfect time. When your spirit is ready to wield it wisely, when your heart is strong enough not to be consumed by it, and when your purpose is fully aligned with divine will. Wealth is not the goal, spiritual maturity is. And once you have that, true abundance will follow, not just in material wealth, but in purpose, in peace, and in the deep fulfillment that can only come from walking in alignment with God. Most people believe financial struggle is simply the result of poor choices, lack of opportunities, or external economic conditions. But for the chosen ones, it often goes deeper. Their financial hardship is not just a consequence of physical circumstances, it is part of a larger, unseen battle. Spiritual warfare is a reality that many overlook. It is the silent force working behind the scenes, influencing circumstances, manipulating systems, and placing obstacles in the paths of those destined for greatness. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." If you are walking in divine purpose, you are a threat to the kingdom of darkness, and financial oppression is one of the enemy's favorite tactics to wear you down, discourage you, and keep you from fulfilling your mission. Imagine a warrior stripped of his armor and weapon before battle. Without resources, even the most skilled fighter is vulnerable. In the same way, financial lack can make it difficult to move forward, to invest in your calling, to build, to grow. The enemy understands this, which is why he targets the chosen ones in this way. He knows that if you gain access to resources, you will not use them for selfish gain, but to expand the kingdom of light, to help others, to fund ministries, to break generational curses. And so, he attempts to block the flow. But here's the truth that the enemy does not want you to realize. Lack does not mean defeat. Many who have walked the path before us, prophets, saints, mystics, endured great hardship before stepping into their divine provision. Look at Job, a man who was tested beyond measure. He lost everything, his wealth, his health, his family, yet he remained faithful. And in the end, he was restored beyond what he had lost. This is a divine pattern. Those who endure will see restoration, but only if they refuse to bow to despair. Now, let's bring this into a modern context. Have you ever noticed how certain individuals, despite immense talent, intelligence, and effort, struggle to break through financially, while others who seem less capable rise effortlessly? This is not always due to luck or privilege. Sometimes it is a sign of targeted spiritual opposition. The enemy manipulates circumstances, causing sudden financial losses, missed opportunities, unexpected setbacks, and cycles of debt. Have you ever experienced situations where, just when you were about to make a breakthrough, something inexplicably went wrong? Doors that seemed wide open suddenly slammed shut. Resources that were promised mysteriously disappeared. This is not mere coincidence. It is warfare. But here's where the narrative shifts. You are not fighting this battle alone. When Daniel prayed, his answer was delayed because an angel was engaged in battle against spiritual opposition. Daniel 10:12. Likewise, your financial breakthrough may already be on its way, but it is being resisted in the spirit realm. This is why persistence in faith is critical. Many give up too soon, allowing discouragement to take hold. But the chosen ones must press on, knowing that delays are not denials. One of the most powerful ways to combat spiritual attacks on finances is through intentional, strategic prayer. Prayer is not just a passive act, it is a force that disrupts the plans of the enemy and shifts circumstances. If you are facing unexplained financial blockages, begin to declare divine provision over your life. Rebuke the forces that seek to steal your resources. Ask God to release the blessings that have been held up in the spiritual realm. Another key aspect is breaking generational strongholds. Many chosen ones are called to be the first in their lineage to break free from cycles of poverty. This means they face opposition, not only from personal attacks, but from inherited struggles, patterns passed down through generations. These strongholds can only be dismantled through spiritual awareness and conscious effort. If poverty has been a recurring theme in your family, you must take intentional steps, both spiritually and practically, to break the cycle. Educate yourself on financial stewardship, practice generosity, align your actions with divine wisdom, and reject any limiting beliefs that have been passed down to you. The enemy wants you to believe that you are alone in your struggle. He wants you to feel isolated, abandoned, hopeless, but nothing could be further from the truth. God is with you, and He is fighting on your behalf. The battle may be fierce, but the victory is already written. Romans 8:37 declares, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us." You are not merely enduring, you are overcoming. The chosen ones must remember that financial struggle is not the final chapter of their story. It is a season, a test, and in many ways a refining fire. But just as silver is purified through intense heat, you are being prepared for a level of abundance that will not only bless you, but will be used to bless countless others. Your wealth, when it comes, will not be ordinary. It will be anointed, purposeful, kingdom-driven. So, when you face financial difficulties, do not despair. See them for what they truly are, a battlefield, yes, but also a preparation ground. And know this: when the time comes for your breakthrough, no force in hell will be able to stop it. Understanding the spiritual and practical dimensions of financial struggle is only half the journey. The next step is applying actionable strategies to overcome these challenges. The chosen ones are not meant to remain in cycles of lack indefinitely. Instead, they are called to rise above, using divine wisdom and spiritual discipline to break free from financial hardship. Here, we will explore the principles that can transform your financial reality. Before any external change can take place, an internal shift must occur. Proverbs 23:7 states, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." This means that if you see yourself as someone who is destined for financial struggle, that belief will continue to manifest in your reality. The mind is a powerful force. It acts as a conduit between the spiritual and physical realms. Quantum physics teaches that observation influences reality. Your thoughts shape your outcomes. If you constantly focus on lack, worry, and fear, you are reinforcing those patterns in your life. Instead, shift your mindset toward abundance. Believe that God has already provided for you, even if you cannot yet see it. Speak words of faith. Declare that resources are coming, doors are opening, and that you are a vessel for divine wealth. Practical step. Each morning, begin your day with affirmations based on Scripture. Declare, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." Psalm 23:01. "My God will supply all my needs, according to His riches in glory." Philippians 4:19. Do not just say these words. Believe them, internalize them, and live as if they are already true. Prayer is not merely a ritual, it is a weapon. Many financial struggles persist because they are not met with intentional, targeted prayer. Jesus taught in Matthew 7:7, Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. The act of asking is not passive. It is an act of faith and persistence. Engage in spiritual warfare through prayer. Bind and rebuke the forces that seek to hinder your financial breakthrough. Speak against stagnation, oppression, and lack. Invite divine favor, clarity, and wisdom into your financial dealings. Remember, Daniel's answer was delayed because a spiritual battle was occurring. Daniel 10 verses 12 to 13. Sometimes, your blessing is on its way, but it requires persistence in prayer to break through. Practical step. Set aside daily time to pray specifically for financial release. Use scriptures as the foundation of your prayers, declaring victory over your finances in the name of Jesus. Many chosen ones are called to be the first in their family to break the chains of financial bondage. Poverty, like any other stronghold, can be generational. This means that financial lack is often reinforced by inherited beliefs, habits, and patterns passed down from previous generations. Galatians 3:13 reminds us that Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law. However, breaking free from generational poverty requires awareness and action. This means identifying limiting financial beliefs you may have inherited, rejecting them, and replacing them with wisdom, discipline, and divine principles. Practical step. Study financial stewardship from a biblical perspective. Educate yourself on wise financial management, savings, investments, and responsible giving. Align your habits with principles that promote lasting wealth. God does not bless irresponsibility. If financial struggle has been a theme in your life, take a moment to evaluate your stewardship. Are you managing what you have wisely? Are you sowing, saving, and spending with intention? Luke 16:10 states, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much." Many chosen ones experience financial hardship because they have not yet mastered the principle of stewardship. This includes living within means, avoiding unnecessary debt, and prioritizing investments over impulsive spending. When God sees that you are faithful with what you have, He releases more. Practical step. Create a financial plan. Track your income, manage expenses, and allocate resources wisely. Set goals for savings and investments. Seek financial literacy to maximize what God has already placed in your hands. It may seem paradoxical, but one of the most powerful keys to unlocking financial breakthrough is generosity. Luke 6:38 says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over." Many people cling to money out of fear, but this very act restricts divine flow. Giving is a spiritual principle that activates abundance. This does not mean reckless or obligatory giving, but rather intentional, faith-filled sowing. When you give with a heart of trust, you are making room for greater blessings to flow into your life. Practical step. Commit to a practice of giving. Whether through tithing, supporting ministries, or helping those in need. Give from a place of faith, trusting that what you release will return multiplied. Financial breakthroughs do not always happen instantly. Sometimes there is a process of refinement before abundance is released. Ecclesiastes 3:11 reminds us, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." If your financial situation has not yet shifted, it does not mean it never will. It means there is still something being worked out within you. God's timing is perfect. Trust that every delay has a purpose. Sometimes He withholds financial increase to protect you from mismanagement or to build resilience. What seems like a setback may be a setup for something greater. Practical step. When discouragement arises, revisit your progress. Keep a journal documenting small wins and answered prayers. This will remind you that movement is happening, even if you do not see the full picture yet. Ultimately, financial breakthrough is not just about principles, it is about obedience. When you align your life with God's will, walk in integrity, and expect divine favor, doors will open in ways you never imagined. Isaiah 1:19 declares, "If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. Practical step. Live in expectancy. Avoid negative speech about finances. Instead of saying, "I am always broke," declare, "My provision is on its way." Walk in faith, knowing that every spiritual and practical effort you make is leading you closer to financial freedom. You were not created to live in perpetual lack. Financial struggle, when met with wisdom and faith, becomes a training ground for divine wealth. You are being refined, prepared, and positioned for greater things. Do not despise the process, trust it. Your journey is not just about personal prosperity, it is about impact. When your financial breakthrough comes, it will not only bless you, but will be a testimony of God's provision to others. Keep pressing forward, knowing that your struggle is temporary, but your calling is eternal. As we bring this journey to a close, I want you to take a moment to reflect. Every struggle you have faced, every financial hardship, and every moment of doubt has not been for nothing. You were never abandoned, never forgotten. Rather, you were being shaped, refined, and prepared. The delays were not denials, but divine appointments. You were walking through a season of preparation, not punishment. The chosen ones do not live by the world's definition of success. They are called to walk a different path, one where faith is tested and trust in God is strengthened. You now understand that financial struggle is not a sign of failure, but an invitation to align yourself with divine wisdom, to develop unwavering faith, and to step into a new way of thinking, living, and manifesting abundance. Your struggles have trained you to steward wealth with wisdom. They have removed the false securities of this world and replaced them with an unshakable foundation in God. Now, as you move forward, carry this wisdom with you. You are no longer a prisoner of lack. You are an heir to divine abundance. When the breakthrough comes, and it will, you will not only rise for yourself, but for those around you, using your blessings to uplift, to heal, and to expand the kingdom. Trust the process, remain faithful in action, and continue to declare that God is your provider. The struggle was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you into the person who is ready to receive, handle, and distribute divine wealth. Now step forward with confidence. Your provision is on its way.